Part 24. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjio Old Thief. Chapter 231. Faced with Shura's questions, Shadow 10 fell into a dilemma. He knew that even if he didn't tell, Shura would still know. But if he did, Shura would fall into madness again. Shadow 10 announced the answer, 200,000 God of War merits. Before Shura could fall into berserk mode, Shadow 10 hurriedly added. When this mission is over, I will challenge myself again. Whether the level of Shadow 10 is improved actually has little to do with me. Shadow 10 is confident of defeating Shadow 7, or even Shadow 6, and Shadow 10's level will soon have nothing to do with him. After hearing what Brother Zhongshan said, Ye Bai became anxious. But money has a lot to do with me. There is also a Shura Hai in his house, a proper gold-swallowing beast. How much does it cost to keep this thing? At this stage, Shura Hai has already cost Master Ju a favor, plus Ye Bai's 6,000 God of War merit points. Don't forget, Ye Bai still has Poseidon's Curse 2.0 on him. Any improvement to Shura requires double the materials, and the upper limit of Shura C is increased by 100%. Rounding off, Ye Bai's expenses were 4 times the original basis. This journey to Stitch the Abyss includes various kill rewards, the realization of abyss bead fragments, the harvesting of Shuemeng's wool, etc. Ye Bai has earned nearly 70,000 God of War merits, and Master Ju still has 10,000 God of War merits to receive. 80,000 God of War merits, plus the more than 20,000 God of War merits that Ye Bai had saved through frugality, his wealth could exceed 100,000. This small amount of money is not worth mentioning in the face of Ye Bai's need to build a top-notch Shura C. Not to mention, Ye Bai also needs to build an SSS level armor, which will cost a lot of money. Right now, Ye Bai has an excellent opportunity to make money. If you upgrade Bang Yingshi to 1 level, you can get 200,000 God of War merits. How could Ye Bai miss such a good thing? He couldn't wait to ask. Brother Zhongshan, tell me about the conditions for upgrading. There are some things among the strong men in shadow that cannot be seen by eye of insight. It should be that the most powerful nightmare has covered up some of them. Shadow 10 had already anticipated Shura's reaction and said helplessly. I can't enter the Eternal Tower, so I have to level up by killing monsters, which is still 10 times more difficult. Normally, a level 980 expert can level up by killing 1 monster of the same level. I had to kill 10 level 980 monsters to level up. Prior to this, Shadow 10 had killed 7 level 980 monsters. In the position of Shadow 10, the kills of monsters can be accumulated. Otherwise, Shadow 10 will never be able to upgrade in this life. Counting the bastard's 9th level God of War Icethorn killed. There are only 2 level 980 monsters left, so Shadow 10 can level up. Ye Bai keenly captured a piece of information, Shadow 10 couldn't enter the Eternal Tower. The more you come into contact with it, the weirder it becomes. First of all, there are thousands of lone wolves in the human race, and everyone has a shadow to accompany them. This is the scariest part of shadow. No matter how weak a lone wolf is, there are shadows all around him. It is precisely because of this that shadow is also known as the strongest among the strongest forces. Secondly, Eye of Insight once said that Master Ju was in a state of half-death. Finally, Shadow 10 said that he could not enter the Eternal Tower. Thinking of the powerful people in the shadow, they will fund the research of the soul system, and there are many big bosses in the soul system. Ye Bai took a deep breath, feeling that the truth might be a bit heavy. Beings like Shadow 10, and even Juyi, are likely to suffer some loss in soul, and rely on some method to survive and maintain fighting power. It is precisely because of this that it is subject to many restrictions. Clearing his mind, Ye Bai stopped thinking about this problem for the time being. Just wishful thinking can't solve anything. He is now focused on making money. Only if he is stronger can Ye Bai solve the troubles faced by Master Ju and others. Ye Bai now is too weak and has no power. Ye Bai's eyes flashed with excitement. The 9th level god of war, think of a way to kill 2 of them. The battlefield in front of you is a natural killing paradise, a Shura field. If you want to fish in troubled waters, this is the perfect time. After Ye Bai made up his mind, Ying Shi could only agree temporarily. He was not worried that Shura would be blinded by money and take risks to hunt down the 9th level god of war. Based on Shadow Ten's understanding of Shura, he was not 90% sure that Shura would not take action easily. In this case, there is no need for Shadow Ten to worry. If it can be upgraded, it will be a good thing for Shadow Ten. Brother Zhongshan, the upgrade plan is started. Ye Bai's morale was high and he began to search for targets. Half a day later, they found a newly born 9th level demon war god on the outside of the battlefield, who was good at the space system. Due to the suppression of the space system by the Stitching Abyss, the opponent's 100% strength cannot be used to exert even 30%. With the combined efforts of Shura and Shadow Ten, they were easily ambushed. Of course, the Demon Clan's 9th level god of war was not in vain. Under desperate circumstances, he counterattacked and caused considerable damage to the 2 of them. The 3-headed dog of hell, killed in battle. This was also the first time Ye Bai suffered casualties when he entered the Suture Abyss plane to explore. The 9th level god of war is so terrifying. Fortunately, there was another good dog 25 minutes later. Ye Bai didn't feel sad for long. After sweeping away the fragments of the abyss beads in the space system, Ye Bai returned to the fortress with Ying Shi again. Old Su, do you want the space abyss pearl fragment? This time, it is the real demand counterpart, and it reaches the stomach in 1 step. Even Su Qingfeng rarely has the opportunity to kill the 9th level war god, let alone harvest the abyss pearl fragments. He is not Xuemeng, the 9th level war god who is so easy to kill. Su Qingfeng usually fights with the Legion, and the majority of his gains are divided into the Legion, but he doesn't get much. Besides, the space abyss bead fragments are so precious, they can only be found but not sought. Su Qingfeng came to Lan Lao's study in an instant, with a strange light shining in his eyes. Yes. I want it. This kill left a total of 13 abyss bead fragments. 9 of them were sold to Su Qingfeng for a total price of 9,800 God of War merits. Shadow 11 also spent 1,300 God of War merits to buy an abyss pearl fragment. There were 2 coins left, so Ye Bai kept one big one for himself and gave the other smaller one to brother Zhongshan. Ye Bai nodded with satisfaction, small profit of 32,970 God of War merit. After repairing for a while, Ye Bai felt the heat in his hand and returned to the battlefield with brother Zhongshan. There is still a 9th level God of War left, so brother Zhongshan can be promoted to level 981. The 200,000 God of War meritorious service, according to the 37 openings agreed between the two, Ye Bai can share a full 140,000. Su Qingfeng looked at the fragments of the abyss pearl in his hand and was overjoyed. This time when I go back, I can make an SS level folding fan myself. Even facing Lord Yingju, he is sure to withstand 3 sword strikes. Thinking of this, Su Qingfeng suddenly realized that his wallet seemed a little dry. It seems like I've been spending a little too much lately. Su Qingfeng had only known Shura for a few days, but he had already spent more than 10,000 God of War feats on him. This kind of speed of wealth consumption is actually very scary. However, Su Qingfeng didn't take it to heart. Money must be spent once earned, and it's worth the money spent. Su Qingfeng didn't think it was a big problem. Stitch out the abyss. Yingju and Yingyi stood in a certain direction, paying close attention to the movements inside. If something happens to Shura, Yingyi feels that Ju can lead the big guy to fight the devil. If Master Ju knew about it, Yingyi suspected that he would end badly. Etc. It would have been fine if the money had been given to Shadow 10. The money would probably have been stolen by that kid. Yingju said angrily. The black mist that was staring at the plane of the abyss suddenly started rolling. How about leaving it here and saying Versailles with a tone of hatred for iron that cannot be transformed into steel? I don't know what this guy Shura is doing, but Shadow 10 has been upgraded. He is now level 981. The news has been delivered several times before, and the situation is not bad. What, is your grandson okay? It has something to do with that kid. Master Ju, is the human race going to be exterminated? No, I have to find a way to pay back the debt. She wasn't worried about Shadow 10. The old face in the black mist had a smile that was almost crooked. The nose was not a nose, and the eyes were not eyes. Shadow 10 is upgraded, you will be happy with it? Shut up, something happened to Shadow 10. Let's pack up and run away with the Eternal Tower on our shoulders. Master Ju said it himself, treat Shuro like your own grandson. No small matter. 4 days have passed since Shura and others entered the Suture Abyss to rescue Lan Lao. She is still young and has not had a sweet relationship yet. She wants to live for thousands more years and will not die unless she commits suicide. Shadow 1. According to the plan, the space channel can be opened within 36 hours and the Suture Abyss can be escaped. Juyi didn't know it yet, but she could already see through the black mist. The shadow turned pale in shock, turning from a red shadow into a white shadow, and said in a broken voice. What's wrong with Master Ju? The black mist rolled in, and the old man's voice was hoarse and filled with dissatisfaction, and he said coldly. Ying I asked hurriedly. It's just a matter of spending more time, and sooner or later he will wake up and return. Ying Yi turned his head silently, unable to bear to look directly. When Shadow 10 is upgraded, I will give you 200,000 God of War merits. The shadow next to him was startled. The old man's soliloquy could be heard in the black mist. In his excitement, he even spoke out what was in his heart. As long as Master Ju is alive, Shadow 10 will not die. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 232. Just 1 minute after Shadow 10 reached level 981. Shadow Group, Shadow of a Loving Family. Group Leader, Shadow 9. Congratulations to Shadow 10 for reaching level 981, and will be rewarded with 200,000 God of War merits. The group leader sent out, Shadow 10's exclusive password red envelope, 200,000 God of War merit points. Weak Woman, Film 1 989 level real name System Envy. Bad Man, Movie 2 989 level real name Envy. Bad Woman, Movie 2 989 level real name Envy. The Guy Who Blew Himself Up, Shadow 7 the envy of the 999 level real name system in the future. Click to expand 99 plus strange envy. Group Leader, Shadow 9. Where's Shadow 10, why haven't you come out to receive the red envelope? The other side of the small black box group chat. After the 200,000 red envelope was sent out, the whole group was excited, and Yingxi naturally noticed the activities in the group chat. Exclusive password red envelope. Enter the password to receive the red envelope. 200,000 God of War merits. After 37%, there are still 60,000. Yingxi stretched out his slightly trembling hand and clicked on the red envelope. You have been banned by the administrator for 24 hours. Enter the password to receive the red envelope. Shadow 10 looked at what was displayed on the screen and tried to understand. The password red envelope will only exist for 24 hours, and he was banned for 24 hours. You cannot receive the red envelope without entering the password. I am banned and cannot enter my password. Isn't this an infinite loop? Shadow 10 fell into deep thought. Is there a possibility that Master Ju actually doesn't want to give out red envelopes? After a few seconds of silence, Yingxi looked up at Shura and said with a smile. The money has arrived. Can I transfer the 140,000 God of War merits to you by swiping your card? Yabai couldn't help but roll his eyes. Get it, get it? Yabai, who has the eye of insight, cannot see the contents on the small black box. But he could clearly see the change in Brother Zongshan's expression. Apparently, there was a money problem. Yabai said angrily. Master Ju is so unkind, I'll look for him later. Brother Zongshan doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Not only must this money be taken back, but it must also be calculated with an interest rate of 36% per day. Listening to Shura's words, Shadow 10 had a feeling. Master Ju's original statement, I treat Shuro like a grandson, was probably not a joke. Just when Yabai was feeling distressed about the loss of his 140,000 God of War merits, the ultimatum in his arms shook slightly. Is there news from Xuemeng? Yabai was very curious. He no longer has the coordinates of the 9th level God of War and the Demon God Seed in his hand. Even if Xuemeng wants to take a kickback, he has no chance. What kind of flowers does De Menzi live in? Xuemeng, dear, are you there? It belongs to turning against the guest and being the main one. Customer service, dear, I'm here. Xuemeng, I would like to ask, since you sell the coordinates of the 9th level God of War, can you help me find out the situation of certain coordinates? Xuemeng, exploration expenses are calculated as costs and deducted in advance. Looking at the chat content in the ultimatum, Yebai's face was filled with questions. Yebai Xuemeng is enlightened. There is demand to get kickbacks, there is no need to create demand to get kickbacks. If Yabai refuses the deal that comes to his door, is he still a human being? Customer service, dear, that's okay. What do you think is the appropriate cost for the inspection? Xuemeng, ahem, I have a friend who wants to ask, how much is the cash back for consumption? Customer service, dear, 30%. Xuemeng, 3,000, no, 5,000. 5,000 God of War merits were used as the cost, and Xuemeng took back 1,500 God of War merits as a deduction and paid the cost of 50 points. To earn 1450 pure points you have to kill 4 9th level war gods to earn it. Xuemeng felt that he was very clever. Soon, Xuemeng sent 3 coordinates. Apparently he had already investigated them. Yabai glanced at it with his insightful eyes and replied immediately. Customer service, there are 3 9th level war gods and 3 demon gods in these 3 coordinates. Their strengths are. Just as Yabai was inputting information, the name of one of the coordinates of the demon god of war and the demon god seed was grayed out. Died. Xuemeng's slaughtering efficiency was obviously beyond Yebai's imagination. 3 coordinates, help Xuemeng complete the detection. 15,000 God of War merit was received, and 4,500 was given as a kickback to Xuemeng. Originally, Yabai wanted to give 30% to Yingxi, but the other party refused to accept anything. Obviously, Shadow 10 still remembers the merits of the 140,000 God of War. Zhu Ye can default on his debt, but Yingxi feels that he must honor it. Yabai didn't force himself, and pocketed the 10,500 God of War merits, feeling finally a little more comfortable. It's hard work. Wandering around the battlefield, Yabai and Yingxi once again entered into a fight. Yabai gained a lot from these days of fighting. The Shadow 10 Society specializes in helping Yabai catch some weak monsters, such as 9th level warriors and 1st level war kings. Take them to another tile and free up a piece of land for Shura to fight the opponent. The nature of the battle in the Eternal Tower is different because there is no real death. If Yabai wants to hone his fighting consciousness and skills, he must do it in a real fight. Of course, this does not prevent Yabai from attaching great importance to his own life safety. He has a layer of armor with very low durability on the outermost layer. If the armor is damaged in a fight, Ye Bai will assume that he died in the battle and will continue to review and reflect. At the beginning, Ye Bai's armor would be damaged 100% when facing a monster at the Battle King level. As the battle progressed, Ye Bai gradually became calmer. With the guidance of Ying 10, Su Qingfeng, and Ying 11, Ye Bai's actual combat skills improved rapidly. Even Su Qingfeng had to sigh. Shura's learning talent is truly terrifying. There are some things that cannot be envied. Even with the same level, same panel, same attributes, and even the same skills, Su Qingfeng couldn't beat Xuemeng. Why did Lu Qingjian punch Xuemeng for most of his life? It's because Xuemeng is too fierce. In that class, Xuemeng chased and beat everyone in the grade alone, but Lu Qingjian was the only one who punched him, and hit Xuemeng on the face. If Su Qingfeng could do the same thing, let alone show off, he would like to have it all engraved on his epitaph and urn. Even if he is burned to ashes, it must be put into words, I punched Xuemeng in the face. Xuemeng is such a person, and so is Shura. However, Shura's talent in actual combat is obviously weaker than Xuemeng's. Time passed little by little, and the rescue team of Lan Lao, Ye Bai, and others entered the Suture Abyss for the 6th day. Xuemeng cleared away the 15th demon seed. Boom! He broke through level 980 a long time ago. After a fight with the demon god Fenki, he was seriously injured and fell to level 979. He recovered from the injury. Ye Bai's exploration of the Suture Abyss also discovered several weak points in space, and the time was just right. This trip was extremely frustrating the whole time. Su Qingfeng stood in front of the fortress, looking at a weak point in the space, and took out the folding fan from his waist. After sending the coordinates of the demon seed to Xuemeng, Su Qingfeng began to arrange the final evacuation work. In fact, everyone had the opportunity to evacuate as early as 12 hours ago. This time it's not about kickbacks. The last demon god seed must die. An extra demon god will be extremely detrimental to the overall situation. It's actually level 988 again so soon. It was level 980 a few days ago. You guys evacuate first, I'll follow after I take care of the demon seeds. Opening the folding umbrella, Su Qingfeng raised the corners of his mouth and drank softly. Under the prompts of the Eye of Insight, the remaining 3 demon god seeds gathered together and were guarded by an extremely powerful 9th level god of war. The wind is tight, pull. I am already level 988. If I use my full strength, the entire abyss plane will not be able to maintain stability. You can try to open the space channel at any time and escape from the Suture Abyss. Send Xuemeng a message about the countdown to evacuation. Shura, Lan Lao, and others will leave with the team. Finally, it was Su Qingfeng's turn to take action. Before Su Qingfeng could continue to show off, Ying Shi's strong voice came from behind him. Xuemeng quickly replied. It's almost time. Compared with Xuemeng, Su Qingfeng felt that he, the 9th level war god, was too wet. Snapped. Su Qingfeng informed Xuemeng of his evacuation plan and asked for his opinion. After they leave, Xuemeng will immediately start a battle with the last demon seed and strangle the demon in the cradle. Use the ultimatum to communicate with Xuemeng Chuo. In order to check the location of the last 3 demon seeds, I stayed longer. Wind blows. Currently remaining demon seeds, 3. Obviously, this is going to be a tough fight. Slip. A hurricane instantly tore through the weak point in space and opened up a space passage. Su Qingfeng was speechless for a while. Without further ado. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 233. Su Qingfeng can only be handsome for 3 seconds. Ying Shi's words, the wind is tight and the wind blows. Su Qingfeng felt like he had suffered internal injuries, and he almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. After Shadow 10 finished shouting, he chatted with Shura in his shadow and asked curiously, "Why are you shouting like that?" Ye Bai said seriously, "I was watching a TV series some time ago, and I shouted like this when I was running away. It sounded like a domineering king." Shadow 10 scratched his head and was silent for a moment, trying to understand the meaning of Wang Bhe. Yang Shi asked back, "If you kill them all and don't run away, wouldn't you be more domineering?" "No, that's Xuemeng's mission. Let's just run away." Having said this, Ye Bai in the shadow looked back. Across a small half of the abyss plain, Ye Bai could clearly see the scene on the battlefield. The demon blood dyed half of the sky red, but with Xuemeng around, he didn't dare to dye the remaining half of the sky. The entire sky turned into a magnificent picture, half red and half black. World-famous paintings, red and black. At Xuemeng's feet, the corpses of monsters piled up into a hill. No, it should be said that he was surrounded by a real mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. On the entire battlefield, there were only two breathing entities left: Xuemeng, the 9th-level demon war god. Opposite Xuemeng, an extremely powerful and veteran 9th-level demon war god, climbed to the top with all his momentum, and the demonic flames were overwhelming. This demon strongman is named Hu Yuan and is level 989. Tiger ape, as the name suggests, has a tiger head, an ape body, and a detachable black and white long tail, which is used as a stick by the tiger ape. The ferocious tiger's head is as big as a building, and its fangs are 10 meters tall. There is a terrifying scar on the head, which was injured by the sword energy. It spreads from the corner of the forehead to the corner of the mouth, as if it can split most of the head. The tiger ape not only has a big head, but also a big body. The head-to-body ratio is even a perfect 8, and the painting on paper has a charm that combines violence and aesthetics. Such a powerful monster would not dare to act rashly when facing Xuemeng. A pair of blood-red eyes stared at Xuemeng, the tiger and the ape roared from their mouths, and a bloody wind and rain roared. The roar of the tiger ape is full of anger. "Xuemeng, if Lan Bangxian hadn't wounded my origin with his sword, it would have been me who was promoted to demon god last time." Obviously, Tiger Ape was very angry at not being promoted to demon god. Xuemeng plucked his ears, dismissed the Tiger Ape's roar, and glanced in the direction of Su Qingfeng and others. The space channel has just been opened, and it will take some time for it to be completely stable. After stabilization, it will take time for everyone to evacuate. Before that, Xuemeng could not attack with all his strength, otherwise the space channel would be affected. The demon war god opposite Xuemeng also had his own plans in mind. He had already swallowed the 3 demon seeds and needed some time to digest and absorb them. The longer it takes, the better it will be for him. If it keeps dragging on like this, Tiger Ape might even have a chance to advance to the level of demon god. "Advanced demon god, I'm afraid you forgot something," Xuemeng said disdainfully. "Are you envious of the demon god Fenqi who was born last time to the demon clan?" Listening to Xuemeng's words, Hu Yuan was stunned. What he said makes sense. But in a quarrel, you must never lose your momentum. Even if you know what the other party is saying is reasonable, you still have to be tough. No matter what, even if your father comes today, he can't stop me from becoming a demon. After throwing out the harsh words, Tiger Ape's body began to shrink. From the size of a mountain, it gradually shrunk to the size of a normal human being, just over 2 meters tall. At the same time, Tiger Ape's momentum rose instead of falling. The power of the 3 demon seeds he swallowed was absorbed and digested by him crazily. Boom! Boom! 2 bursting sounds were heard, and 2 large holes appeared on both sides of the tiger's shoulders, and a ball of flesh quickly grew at the entrance of the hole. Ye Bai, who had been watching the live broadcast from afar, his expression changed and he was shocked. There are actually two more ferocious heads on the tiger ape's shoulders. Hell's three-headed dog, I'm familiar with this. At the same time, the body of the tiger ape also changed, with 6 thick arms and 8 legs in a circle, like a crab in the sea without a mouth. Why is he so ugly? Xuemeng looked at the monster with 3 heads, 6 arms and 8 legs in front of him, and was a little surprised for a moment. Aren't you looking for death? Unlike Yabai, who was watching the live broadcast, Xuemeng was the top 9th level war god with a more vicious vision. He could tell at a glance that Tiger Ape's combat power had more than doubled at this time, and the price he paid was also huge. Tiger Ape opened his origin directly to the demon seed in his body. In other words, it is not him who is devouring the demon god seed, but the demon god seed that is devouring the tiger ape. The 2 extra heads are the consciousness of the demon seed. In this way, even if tiger ape finally succeeds in advancing and achieves the position of demon god, he is not the tiger ape he was before, he is just a shell. The only advantage of doing this is that the strength increases quickly, giving Hu Yuan the confidence to face Xuemeng. When he reaches the level of the 9th level god of war, even with the blessing of the demon god's seeds, he can only obtain high-intensity damage reduction from various systems, and it is difficult to achieve direct immunity. The 2 heads on the shoulders of the tiger ape had just formed, and when they opened their mouths, a hoarse and obscure voice came out. Kill. For Xuemeng, the entire Suture Abyss Plane was filled with resentment to the extreme. As the darling of the Suture Abyss Plane, the demon seed has only one mission. Kill Xuemeng. Kill. 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 Driven by the crazy desire to kill, a long black and white stick appeared in the tiger's hand, leaving an afterimage on the spot, and rushed towards Xuemeng. In an instant, one person and one demon are fighting together. Thousands of miles away, the space channel has stabilized. After Su Qingfeng determined that it was safe, he immediately organized an evacuation. Feng Dong, Feet, and others entered the space passage one after another, while Yingxi and Lan Lao stayed at the end. This also left Ye Bai time to watch the live broadcast. Obviously, Xuemeng was holding back his strength to prevent the aftermath of the battle from being too strong and interfering with the stability of the space channel. Even so, it can be seen that Xuemeng is unusually calm. He even threw the sledgehammer aside and was able to fight the opponent 50-50 with his bare hands. Time to go. Shadow 10 didn't know what Shuro was doing, so he reminded him loudly. Yo! Ye Bai was in Yingxi's shadow. Even if he entered the space passage, he could continue to watch Xuemeng's battle. Taking one step forward, Shadow 10 entered the space channel. Su Qingfeng followed closely and closed the passage completely. The moment the space channel is closed, Xuemeng's eyes changed. You can't hide the look in your eyes that wants to kill the devil. Boom. After punching the opponent, Xuemeng twisted his neck left and right several times, making continuous blasting sounds. Does it sound good? If it sounds good, it means good cervical spine. Xuemeng stretched and stretched his arms, the warm-up is over. Hu Yuan was not far away, staring at Xuemeng. In the previous battle, he only used 3 points of his strength, Xuemeng should be about the same. In a real life and death fight, Tiger Ape is 20% sure that he will become a demon in the fight. If the fight with Xuemeng could last half a day, the Tiger Ape's chance of becoming a demon god would be close to 50%. Get through it and survive. Once he achieves the position of demon god, Tiger Ape has no fear of Xuemeng, and can even avenge himself with a sword from the Blue Immortal. Xuemeng took out a halberd from the storage space and stood on the spot. Seeing Fang Tian painting the halberd, Xuemeng's eyes were full of enthusiasm and he sighed. Good weapon. Unfortunately, it is not available for the time being. It can be used at level 989. Immediately. With the bloody sledgehammer in hand, Xuemeng walked towards Hu Yuan step by step. With every step he took, his aura doubled. Feeling the changes in the enemy, Hu Yuan's expression suddenly changed. From the depths of his soul, there was an instinct calling for him to turn around and run away. The tiger ape didn't even think about it, turned around and ran away. Ye Bai, who watched the entire battle, was shocked for 100 years and could not calm down for a long time. The powerful vitality of the monster was reflected at this moment, and the remains of the tiger and ape slowly came back to life. Tiger ape, die. Powerful and domineering, slow and powerful. Doesn't this delay things? Tiger ape failed to survive the third 80. Xuemeng didn't waste any time, and caught up with Hu Yuan in a few steps. He simply picked up the bloody sledgehammer and smashed it down hard. Fierce. Xuemeng grabbed one of Hu Yuan's arms with his left hand, grabbed a thigh with his right hand, and tore it apart with all his strength. Hu Yuan even suspected that even if he advanced to the level of demon god, he would still not be Xuemeng's opponent. This fear instinct does not come from the tiger ape itself, but from the plane of the suture abyss. Only this time, he shouted out that line, and his voice resounded throughout the 9 heavens and 10 places. Xuemeng killed the tiger ape with 3 hammers, and reached level 989 again. Life has come to an end, are you still willing to keep it? Demonic blood dyed the world red. This is a warning from the suture abyss plane to him, run. After being hit with 3 hammers in a row, Tiger Monkey's body was like broken porcelain, covered with countless cracks, and it could disintegrate with just a touch. Being cowardly before fighting is a great shame and humiliation. A man was born between heaven and earth, how can he live in a state of depression for a long time? Anger and shame spread throughout the body, and the body containing destructive power was trembling slightly. It was obvious that he was extremely angry. Xuemeng, a guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes, hides deeper than everyone imagined. Unfortunately, there is no chance to verify this conjecture. Death has raised his scythe, no, his sledgehammer. Facing Xuemeng, who was going all out, Hu Yuan felt a great fear envelope his whole body for a moment. Survived. Seeing that the tiger ape had almost recovered, Xuemeng repeated the previous action and tore the tiger ape in half. With his left hand, he grabbed the air, and Fang Tian's painted halberd flew into his hand, cutting all the remains of the tiger and ape into ashes, completely cutting off any chance of life. Don't die. Wait, I forgot to say my lines. Until he walked out of the space passage, Ye Bai still had some unfinished thoughts and could only give a thumbs up. This is the shame of the 9th level war god, and also the shame of the future demon god. Xuemeng suddenly remembered something. He was holding 2 pieces of the remains of the tiger ape in his hand, and quickly put them together. His expression was actually a little anxious, for fear that the tiger ape would really die if it was too late. 80. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 234. As soon as Yingxi led Ye Bai through the space passage, Xuemeng eliminated the enemy and was promoted to level 989. He still has some aftermath to do. The suture abyss must find a way to purify it, otherwise, keeping it will sooner or later be a disaster. Moreover, due to the harsh environment and characteristics of the Stitch Abyss, it is not suitable for the human army to be stationed. As for how to purify the suture abyss, that is another question. Xuemeng personally prefers physical therapy. 2 flowers bloom, one on each side. Separated from Xuemeng, everyone passed through the space passage and could not return directly to Blue Star, but entered another abyss plane. Lan Lao, Yingxi, and Su Qingfen were the last ones to leave. Because the people in front need to build a life support system to help Mr. Lan survive in the harsh environment of the abyss. The level 60 Lan Lao should not have appeared on the front line. A breath of poisonous gas from the abyss plane could take away half of his life. We had just rescued Mr. Lan from a near-death trap like the Seam Abyss. If something went wrong for other reasons, it would be a big joke. Fetching water from a bamboo basket was in vain. Fortunately, most of the people in the venue are thoughtful people and will not ignore these details. Finally escaped. As soon as Su Qingfeng landed, his figure turned into a breeze. He instantly understood the situation thousands of miles around and returned to the same place. We should be in the 9th abyss, we're lucky. If the teleportation channel goes to the 1st, 2nd, and 5th abyss, there will be big trouble. Now the 3, 4, and 6 demon gods have all fallen. 1, 2, and 5 are actually the most powerful among the demon gods, and the abyss monsters are also the strongest. Everyone stayed in the Stitching Abyss for nearly a week. Although they were in good condition, they were inevitably a little tired. Once again surrounded by a demonic tide, it was another hard battle. In the 9th abyss, the demons are slightly weaker and the monsters are not that difficult to deal with. The moment everyone entered the 9th abyss, the 9th demon god noticed their presence. The demonic tide is already gathering. Once it reaches a scale of 1 million, it will immediately attack everyone. A million-level demonic tide, even the 9th level god of war is in danger of falling, so we must avoid its sharp edge. Last time, at the negotiation site, the demon gods did not respect martial ethics and wanted to trap Mr. Lan. Only then did the 3 most powerful men speak out one after another, and Master Ju even said, "I will enter the most powerful realm in the future. This kind of kumquat will protect the blue sky." But this time, Lan Tiankai took the initiative to appear on the battlefield. In other words, all actions of both parties must be carried out within the framework of the strongest agreement. As long as the demon god doesn't end up personally and lets the demonic tide take action to kill Lan Tiankai, he doesn't have to bear any risk at all. The demon gods know very well where the human race's bottom line lies. The human race at this stage cannot bear the price of tearing up the extreme agreement. What's worse is that due to staying in the abyss for a long time, Lan Tiankai's physical condition is actually very poor, even with the maintenance of the life support system. He could not be led directly away from the battlefield by Su Qingfeng, nor could he bear the pressure of passing through the space channel again. Just like a seriously ill patient who can still stay alive in the ICU. To ask him to go to outer space on a long journey and to take a space shuttle is to urge him to die. Su Qingfeng, as a battle-hardened 9th level god of war, naturally knew the rules of the abyss battlefield and made a decision immediately. Shake people. Before the demon god detects the existence of Lan Tiankai and sends out the demonic tide, they must bring in strong enough helpers, preferably a legion. Don't look at the 3 9th level war gods, Shadow 10, Shadow 11, and Su Qingfeng. In the face of a million level or even stronger demon tide, these 3 people are not enough to look at, and they are too few to fill the teeth. They are not Xuemeng. The current situation is extremely critical. You have to be a powerful helper and a healing god of war, racing against time. And Su Qingfeng looked at Yang Shi with worried eyes. The one who should be worried most is not Mr. Lan, but Shura. If the demon gods knew that Shura appeared on the abyss battlefield, who knows what kind of crazy actions they would do. There have been rumors that the most powerful seeds are a great tonic for the devil. Whether it is Mr. Lan or Shura, Su Qingfeng must bring them back to Blue Star completely. Shake people, shake people, shake people. Su Qingfeng took out his communication token and sent a message directly. Yang Er, come here quickly and bring more people with you. If you're late, just wait for me to collect the body. A sissy voice came from the other end of the communication token. What are you urging me to do? I'm being chased by the 2nd Demon God's Legion, so I have no time. The voice soon changed to a strong bass. Old Su, you pick an urn you like, and I'll pay for it. Su Qingfeng. The move failed. Obviously, the Nightmare Legion can't take action for the time being. Su Qingfeng immediately tried to contact Fenglan Legion. He used to be the commander of the Fenglan Legion. The Fenglan Legion moved very fast and was suitable for this kind of emergency support. While Su Qingfeng was swaying, others were not idle either. Yang Shi took out the small black box and said respectfully, "Master Ju, your grandson is back." There was a reply quickly on the small black box. "Yang Ju, the demon-slashing god is here, Yang Yi has passed. Shadow 9, Shadows 4 to 7 have already set off. The eternal forest is guarded by King Huo Tian. Yang Ju, take good care of those two grandsons." Except for Yang Er and Ju Ye who couldn't get away by themselves, Shadow sent out 5 9th level war gods in one go. True grandson treatment. Of course, according to the Xi'an agreement, there is an upper limit on the number of war gods in each abyssal plane. All of these reinforcements do not need to enter the 9th abyss. Containment on the periphery is also a kind of deterrence. It can be rotated and alternated at any time, and the inside should be coordinated with the outside. Moreover, from outside the 9th abyss, many demon gods' men will come, trying to interfere with the human race's rescue. The two sides have been fighting for hundreds of years, always showing off their tactics. These routines are no longer new. Shadow 11 is also shaking people. But instead of using a small black box, he took out a personal token. Yojian stood on the 9th abyss. Lan Bangxian looked down at the countless monsters at his feet and slowly spoke. 15 minutes? Okay, I'm waiting. It's urgent. The people Ye Bai deals with are all busy now, like Juya and Shuemang, each with their own tasks. Third brother, it's better not to shake this. Fortunately, Ye Bai was not the only one who failed to shake people. Didn't Mr. Lan also shake people? Dad, I'm out, in the 9th abyss, okay. He found that when he shook people, he had no one to shake. People cannot stare at Shuemeng alone. It's me. Ye Bai secretly made up his mind to establish good trade relations with people like Su Qingfeng in the future. He also had multiple spare tires when he was trying to win, right? From the feedback from the crowd, it is not difficult to see that the demon gods are quite united this time. The monsters in the 9th abyss have begun to gather, and the number exceeds 1 million, including many god of war monsters. The sky in the 9th abyss suddenly split open, and a sword light fell from the sky like a galaxy hanging upside down. Countless sword energies poured down one after another, dazzling and dazzling, crushing everything into powder. Ye Bai lay in the shadow of Yingxi, waiting for the upcoming hard battle. As soon as Lan Lao and others escaped from the suture abyss, the demon gods immediately took action, causing trouble in various places and involving the energy of the strong human race and the legions. The pattern needs to be opened. It's called a banished immortal, but it's like a demon descending from the sky. Those who didn't know the inside story thought that the human race was making some big move. Just as Ye Bai was thinking this, Lan Lao took out his mobile phone and dialed a number. After saying that, after sending the coordinates, Shadow 11 cut off communication. How long will it take for all members of the Blood Marine Corps to be airdropped into the 9th abyss? Yang 11 didn't talk nonsense, ignored the other party's surprise, and asked directly. In the sword light, a white-robed figure rushed out, carrying a long sword on his back, with black hair and heavy eyes. Where is my son? The war is about to break out? This battle is almost catching up with the previous battle. In the past few decades, Shadow 11 has never contacted each other. The Fenglan Legion will arrive within 5 minutes. The Legion originally stationed in the 9th abyss is too far away and will not be able to arrive in time. Su Qingfeng also stopped shaking people at this time and said. Everyone waved around, and 2 reorganized legions came out, with 5 9th level war gods in the shadows. The phone hasn't been hung up yet. The darkness was overwhelming, and it rushed toward Ye Bai and others with great force. The main reason is that Shura does a very good job of keeping his identity secret on weekdays. When Fenglan Legion and Blood Marine Corps entered the Ninth Abyss, they voluntarily evacuated and gave up part of their defense line, and would not violate the Xi'an agreement. Sheep, you can't catch Shuemeng and gather them alone. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 235. None of the monsters in the abyss use swords. The sword, to them, is a symbol of death. 100 years ago, the Eternal Tower came. A middle-aged man with double pupils appeared in the human race, who was extremely cruel. The sword can kill gods and demons, it is unstoppable, and it is also known as the best sword in the world. The middle-aged man was named Lan Bangxian. He was nearly 50 years old when the Eternal Tower arrived. He had a son named Tiankai. The title of the best sword in the world is rarely mentioned now and is gradually forgotten. It only exists in the memories of the older generation who have experienced 30 years of bloody battles. The best sword in the world disappeared because the human race had an extra swordsman in white, who could draw his sword without leaving a trace. In front of Wuhan, no one dares to claim to be the best swordsman in the world. After Wuhan, the most powerful seed, emerged, Lan Bangxian made a battle with Wuhan and was defeated miserably. The second brother is very good at convincing people with a sword. From then on, the blue banished immortal followed the supreme seed Wuhan to conquer the abyss and conquered the abyss. After more than 30 years, he fought thousands of small and large battles and gained countless victories. The title of the first 9th level god of war had been occupied by Lan Bangxian for decades, and it was not Shuemeng's turn. Shuemeng came from behind as the most powerful adopted son, that is another story. During this period, the most powerful demon god awakened, and the most powerful demon god disappeared after fighting with the nightmare, and the most powerful demon god fell into a deep sleep again. Wuhan took advantage of the situation to break through the 999 level, established himself as the strongest, and created the Wuhan Legion. As Wuhan's right-hand man, Lan Bangxian holds the position of deputy army commander and is unparalleled in the limelight. Under one person, above all demons. Until the new generation of the most powerful seeds was born, Wuhan fought with the most powerful demon and retreated behind the scenes, and the most powerful demon fell asleep again. It was at this time that Lan Bangxian, the sword that had been used to slay demons for more than 60 years, retracted its scabbard to warm up the sword's will. The stage was given to a new generation of young people, such as Shuemeng. Until today, he came to save his son. 100 years have passed by, and the blue immortal is really like an immortal, getting younger and younger as he lives. His son Lan Tiankai is over 100 years old, but he is already very old. Dad will always be dad. When Lan Tiankai fell into the 9th abyss, Lan Bangxian arrived immediately with his sword. The sword he carried on his back had not been unsheathed for 36 years. The long sword whistled slightly, and I was thirsty for blood for 36 years. When Lan Bangxian appeared on the battlefield, Ye Bai truly understood the meaning of this sentence. One man is in charge, and 10,000 men are not allowed to open it. The million-level demon tide dared not move forward in front of Lan Bangxian. However, this deterrence does not last long. The scale of the demon tide is still increasing, and when enough monsters gather, they will still try. Take your life to fill this sword. This is the tactic the demons are best at. Faced with the demonic tide that was quietly accumulated, Lan Bangxian was also very silent. The crack behind him did not disappear, but instead came an elegant and easygoing voice. I come. These two words immediately caused the entire abyss plane to tremble. A terrifying monster pressure came to the sky above the battlefield, and everyone was breathless under the huge consciousness. Even the blue banished immortal's expression changed slightly. The 9th demon god is paying attention to this place. The 9th demon god slowly spoke, Wuhan, there is no need to waste your sword on me. The swordsman in white outside the abyss nodded and acknowledged what the other party said. Cutting off Laoju is indeed a waste. Let them go. The ninth demon god simply said, make a deal. The best sword in the world, Lan Bangxian, appears, and the most powerful one is Wu Hen. It is impossible to kill Lan Tiankai. It's better to settle for the next best thing and take this as a condition to get some benefits, at least not to lose. Ye Bai finally figured it out. Demon gods are all masters of face changing, and they are best at defeating Kai Yufeng and betraying their teammates. They never miss anything that benefits themselves at the expense of the devil. Speak. The ninth demon god made his own conditions, which are your next 3 swords and who will you kill? Good. Wu Hen reported the name of the sword move and then added the name. These 3 swords are aimed at the 5th demon god, the 5th demon god, and the 5th demon god respectively. After getting the answer he wanted, the will of the 9th demon god left, the demonic tide receded, and the world returned to clarity. Ye Bai let out a sigh of relief, the crisis was over. Until this moment, everyone is truly safe. The moment when the will of the 9th demon god descends is the most dangerous moment of this journey. At this time, Ye Bai's probability of surviving until tomorrow, 100%. Withdraw. There was no delay, and everyone divided into 2 teams to evacuate. Su Qingfeng led the rescue team through the human defense line and returned to Blue Star. This time the SSS level mission has been completed, with no near misses, and they miraculously achieved a 0% mortality rate. This feat is destined to go down in history, and they are worthy heroes. The 4 of them, Ye Bai, Ying Shi, Ying 11, and Lan Lao, followed Lan Bangxian and went directly to see the most powerful Wu Hen. The ultimate purpose of this trip was to send Mr. Lan to meet his second brother and awaken his talent for the second time. Walking on the wind, Ye Bai felt very happy and felt how wonderful it was to be alive. Especially alive with full health and full status. At this point, he is certain that he is part of the 14.77% and can return to the Blue Star with full health. Great. After leaving the 9th abyss, Lan Bangxian, who had been leading the way, suddenly stopped. The shadows ahead are forbidden. In Lao Ian's shadow, Ying 11's figure emerged. In Ying Shi's shadow, Ye Bai walked out embarrassedly. Ignoring Lan Bangxian's strange gaze, Ye Bai walked up to Lan Lao and said enthusiastically, Lao Lan, I'll give you another ride. Ye Bai added in his heart, meet my second brother by the way. The shadow ban is obviously not Lan Bangxian's rule, but the second brother's rule. Before leaving, Ye Bai looked back at brother Zhongshan and said seriously, Brother Zhongshan, could you please tell me your name? Even if he is the shadow of a lone wolf, he will have his own name. The current Ying Qi is called Zhao Zian, and Ye Bai can easily see it through the eye of insight. But Ying Shi's body is more covered, and the eye of insight is opened directly. What kind of bicycle do you need to awaken your talent? Look at where there are SSS level talents now. You are disdainful of them and I am disdainful of them. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Ignoring the complaints from the eye of insight, Ye Bai looked at Ying Shi, wanting an answer. After Ye Bai finished meeting his second brother, Ying Shi would probably go on a new mission. Although they didn't get along for a short time, the 2 of them could be regarded as life and death friends. Without the protection of Shadow 10, whether Ye Bai could survive or not was another matter. How could he earn so many God of War merits? When it's time to leave, Ye Bai felt that he should at least know the other person's name. When Ye Bai has the fighting power of a 9th level war god, Ying Shi will also know Shura's name. That's fair enough. When Shura asked this question, Ying Shi showed a look of reminiscence on his face and grinned. I haven't mentioned my name in many years. I am just a shadow and don't ask about the past. We are all brothers and sisters in the shadow. We all fall apart at the same time, so no one should dislike anyone. It's okay to tell you, but, can you keep it a secret for me? Faced with Ying Shi's request, Ye Bai nodded in agreement. Shadow 10 reported his name. I'm Lu Qinjiao. Ye Bai's expression was slightly startled. Lu Qinjiao? Lu Qinjian? Old Fox's eldest brother. I have seen Lu Qinjiao's name on the death monument, and the other party's last words were also left to Lu Qinjian. Ye Bai had calculated everything, but he never expected that he would meet Lu Qinjiao in the shadow. The other party is still alive, it's really great. After picking up his mood, Ye Bai said with a smile. Brother Qinjiao, let's have a drink together when we have time. Good. While Ye Bai said goodbye to Ying Shi, Lan Lao also had some words to tell Ying 11. After returning from this trip, Shadow 11 will also leave. This is what Lan Lao means. Even if there is a shadow that continues to protect Mr. Lan, it's time to replace him. No matter how many words we say, we will eventually part ways. 11. We have been together for 20 years. Thank you for your hard work. Lan Lao looked at Ying 11. This person who has always hidden his face in the shadows has never shown his true face to others. The two men hadn't spoken much over the past 2 decades. Who says you can't become a confidant in silence? Along the way, Lan Tiankai was very grateful to the other party for helping him survive. He bowed deeply to Ying 11, who quickly returned the bow. When he stood up, it was a little difficult for Lan Tian to straighten his waist. Shadow helped him support his arms and slowly straightened up. Lan Tiankai coughed twice and spoke again. Before I leave, I also want to ask this question, can you tell me your name? After all, you also know, ahem, I may die after my second awakening. After many hardships, Lan Tiankai finally reached this point, but Lan Tiankai still did not escape the shadow of death. The success rate for the second awakening is less than 1/10. Once it fails, with Lan Tiankai's current situation, it will be difficult to have a chance of survival. Ying 11 fell into silence and spoke after a long while. I swore that day when I woke up in the shadows. For the rest of my life, I will never show my true face to others, and never mention my name again, just regard death as my new life. Shadow 11 didn't want to say. Moreover, based on Shadow 11's previous action of contacting the Blood Marine Corps. With Lan Lao's wisdom, he has probably guessed Ying 11's true identity. But even so, Mr. Lan still chose to ask directly. He didn't bother to guess. I have been busy all my life and worked hard on the questions of my life. In these few days, I have been scheming with all kinds of monsters and ghosts, which is very tiring. This time, Mr. Lan wanted to look directly at the reference answers. Can't you even ask me, Lan Tiankai? Hiss. King Bomb, a sure kill. Shadow 11 fell into silence again, and the black fog dissipated little by little, revealing an old face. The wrinkles on his face told the years and were full of stories. It's him. Lan Bangxian and Lu Qinjiao were a little shocked when they recognized Ying 11's identity. With his lips moving slightly, Ying 11 spoke slowly, his voice trembling slightly, as if every word he said required all his strength. Xin Will, Wenjing Hua. As he spoke, Ying 11 lowered his head, arched his shoulders, and hunched his whole body, like an ostrich trying to bury his head in the sand. He doesn't want to show his true face to others because he feels that he owes too much and has no face to face it. He lives in regret and shame all day long, unable to get out of the shadow. Master Ju could save him, but he couldn't untie the knot in his heart. Yang Jinghua even chose to distribute himself, staying away from the battlefield, shadows, and lone wolves. He clearly has greater potential and combat power, but he took the initiative to take over the position of Shadow 11 and silently guarded Lao Lan. Lan Tiankai pushed away Ye Bai who was supporting him, walked to Yang Jinghua's side, and straightened him up. Jinghua, you have never been a criminal in the human race. If anyone comes to judge your crimes, no one in our race will be innocent. Everyone present fell into silence, silently listening to the conversation between the two centenarians. Yang Jinghua is the last thing you promised me. Lan Tiankai patted Yang Jinghua on the shoulder and said seriously. From this moment on, hold your chest high and let your heart be filled with infinite light. There is no need to feel guilty. My heart is bright and I am worthy of the world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 236. Wen Jinghua. Shadow 11's real name may sound a little strange. The handsome Yabai remembered it very clearly, as if the words appeared one by one in front of his eyes. Yang Jinghua was originally the commander of the Blood Navy Regiment and a 6th-level god of war. While stationed in the Blood Sea Abyss, they were attacked by demons. More than half of the Blood Navy Regiment was killed or injured, and they were almost reorganized. The regiment leader Yang Jinghua died in this battle. Yang Jinghua's most famous and beloved disciple is Lian Liankan. When Lian Liankan's son persuaded Lian Liangan to betray the human race, he once used Yang Jinghua's incident as an example. I went through the basic information. Yabai probably understood the reason why Yang Jinghua called him a criminal general. First of all, as the commander of the army, Yang Jinghua was accidentally attacked by the demon army, causing more than half of the casualties. The list of casualties in this battle exceeded 10,000 people, which was a shock. The Blood Marine Corps is one of the legions named after blood that has experienced 30 years of bloody battles. It has special meaning in itself, but it was almost reorganized after this war. Tooth for tooth, blood for blood. Xuemeng broke into the Blood Sea Abyss alone and completely destroyed it without even purifying and recycling it. This battle is also one of Xuemeng's famous battles. The huge loss of the Blood Navy Regiment was borne in mind by Yang Jinghua. Even though he recovered half his life with the help of Master Zhu, Yang Jinghua still couldn't forgive himself. Looking at the former Buzz, he saw that just like himself, he had changed into a human being and a ghost, neither dead nor alive, just hanging on to his last breath. Yang Jinghua felt very sorry for himself. Secondly, if he just neglected his duty and was plotted by the devil, Yang Jinghua could still find an excuse for himself. If the demon god takes action, even the Tongtian god of war may be hit. He was only the 6th-level god of war at the time, and the gap in rank was too big. It was Lian Liankan's betrayal that made Yang Jinghua completely disheartened. He didn't expect that his beloved disciple, who he had high hopes for, would do such a crazy thing. Join the demon cult, trap and kill your colleagues, and rely on the demon god to advance to the realm of god of war. If anyone else had done this, Yang Jinghua would have wanted to eat his flesh raw and cut his body into thousands of pieces. But when Yang Jinghua wakes up, Lian Liangan has made a big mistake. After becoming the god of war, Lian Liangan also learned some inside stories about the human race and met his awakened mentor. Lian Liangan knelt in front of his mentor, kowtowed and begged for death. Yang Jinghua originally planned to kill Lian Liangan first to clean up his family, then commit suicide to apologize and live without shame in the world. Yang Ju just watched with cold eyes, without any intention of taking action. As a result, a white cloud fell. Yang Ju didn't know what Xiao Ao and Lian Liangan said. But Yang Ju is sure of one thing: Lian Liangan will eventually die under his own knife. Those who trap and kill their colleagues will pay for it with their lives. After that day, Lian Liangan's cultivation level increased all the way, making breakthroughs one after another, becoming the 9th-level god of war, and assuming the position of leader of the 4th demon sect. Yang Jinghua practiced secretly in the shadow, and finally took the position of Shadow 11 and stayed by Lan Lao's side for 20 years. Time flew by until one day, the Eternal Tower announced the SSS level clearance. Shura, the most powerful seed of the human race, appears in this world. Lian Liankan knew that this day had come. You deserve to die. That night, the main altar of the fourth demon cult was destroyed, and the leader of the fourth demon cult was seriously injured and escaped. Only then did everything yet by experience happen. Of course, only the parties involved, Xiaoao, Yingju, Lian Liangan and Ying Jinghua, knew these inside stories. Ye Bai didn't know. Relying on the fragmentary information at hand, he was able to deduce the only truth. The changes in Lian Liangan's attitude should be related to Ying Jinghua. The reason for repeated horizontal jumps comes from this. The identity of Shadow 11 revealed some secrets within Shadow 4 Ye Bai, and also solved some of the mysteries surrounding Lian Liangan. Now it seems that there are a large number of people in Shadow, who may have been killed for various reasons. Master Ju forced him to continue his life in some way, but his soul was still defective after all. He was different from ordinary people and could only live in the shadows. It is precisely for this reason that Shadow pays special attention to the research of the soul system. Ye Bai nodded slightly. Next time I change jobs, find a way to get out of the soul system. The help of Eye of Insight in the soul system is absolutely beyond imagination. The premise is the second awakening. A certain talent continued to protest. There is no need to say more. Seeing you off thousands of miles away, there will be a farewell in the end. Lan Bangxian led the way, and Ye Bai supported Lao Lan and walked forward, not forgetting to wave back to Lu Qinjiao and Ying Jinghua. Their figures quickly disappeared into the void ahead. Ying 11's face was once again covered by black mist, and he returned to silence. The two were planning to take out the small black box and contact Master Ju. A red shadow flew across the sky quickly, and the weak woman's voice was unusually urgent. Chongshan, where is Shura? Ying Shi was stunned for a moment and answered honestly, I followed Mr. Lan and Lan Bangxian to see Wuhan. Idiot. Ying stomped his feet angrily and cursed. I want you to be optimistic about Shura, just don't give him a chance to be alone with Lan Lao, let alone let him see Wuhan. Shadow 10 fell into silence and stopped answering. Ying Yi was not sure whether Ying 10 really didn't understand what Master Ju meant or was just pretending to be confused. The frustrated Ying Yi could only be furious. You ruined Master Ju's big deal. The red shadow began to change color crazily on the spot, sometimes red, sometimes white, and sometimes black. It's terrible. If Master Ju loses his temper, someone will die. How about I discuss it with the second and third sons and run away with the Eternal Tower? Shadow 10 silently looked forward, which was the direction where Shura disappeared. He is a shadow, and there are things he cannot tell Shura. This is his duty. But Lao Lan can. In other words, Mr. Lan is the only person in the entire human race who can tell Shura this. Supporting Mr. Lan, Ye Bai coughed twice and asked cautiously. Lao Lan, I was so bored that I took off my mask. Lan Lao laughed and said. You still have a human skin mask underneath your mask. Does it make any difference whether you take it off or not? Ye Bai fell into silence for a while. Lan Lao was slightly surprised, it really is. Ye Bai became even more silent. Being with Mr. Lan is a million things, but the only drawback is that it always makes people doubt their IQ. Pure IQ crushing. This feeling is terrible. Ye Bai felt that he needed to communicate more with Ying Qi and Lu Qinjian to regain his confidence. Lan Lao did not continue to joke about Ye Bai and said seriously, you wanted to ask that question, right? Once in Stitching the Abyss, Mr. Lan said, when we meet next time, I have something to say to you, related to Brother Ninth. Afterwards, the two met more than once, but Lao Lan never said that. With Lan Lao's IQ and character, he definitely didn't forget this sentence. But there are other reasons, he can't say. Ye Bai figured it out very early, because, the shadow was beside him. What Lan Lao wants to say is related to Ju Ye. If he says it, he will probably be interrupted by the shadow. Around the second brother, Shadows are forbidden. This also created space for Ye Bai to say what Lan Lao wanted to say but couldn't. Ye Bai's attitude was very respectful. Lao Lan, please give me some advice. Shura, this matter is very important, you must remember it clearly. After Lao Lan spoke, Lan Bangxian, who was leading the way, stopped and asked, Son, are you sure you want to tell him now? He should know. Lan Lao insisted, Xiao once told me that Shura's growth rate is different from every time before, and he must prepare in advance. Whatever. After saying that, Lan Bangxian looked behind him, and a red shadow followed him furtively. One step further, you can try. The long sword behind Lan Bangxian trembled slightly, eager to try. Hong Ying was a little reluctant, but had no choice but to retreat. Yang Yi is not afraid of Lan Bangxian, but mainly because of the man behind Lan Bangxian. The second thing is my speculation, if the mark of the strongest falls into Brother Ninth's hands, it's hard to say about the other shadows. Brother Ninth will definitely die and there will be no possibility of waking up. Because Ye Bai will not die, Yang Ju will never be able to get the most powerful mark. Ye Bai was confused as to what it did. You must guard the mark of the strongest and don't let Brother Ninth get it. Brother Ninth has failed both Wu Hen and Xiao. I know him very well and he will never give up. Who made this an abyss battlefield? Wu Hen is the one who truly holds the power of life and death here. Mark of the strongest. He could still tell whether it was a human or a ghost. The mark of the strongest is understandable as an inheritance among the strongest. Lan Lao shook his head and said helplessly. Ye Bai fell into silence, and a silent reminder popped up in front of him. The moment he saw the prompt, Ye Bai nodded slowly and said in a deep voice. Keep both things true. Shura, listen up, my ninth brother, also known as Yingju, your ninth master. Lan Bangxian took 2 steps to the side, leaned forward, and closed his eyes slightly. The eye of insight could not give an answer, and Ye Bai had too many questions to ask. I'm weak and I only know so much. I can tell you 2 things. Lan Lao's opening remarks were so advanced that Ye Bai was speechless for a moment. Is there a problem? No problem. Mr. Lan continued. At that time, it was Brother Ninth's only chance. Go ahead, you have 5 minutes. After the battle with the most powerful demon, Xiao will pass on the most powerful mark to you. If Ying Ai offends Wu Hen, if he is killed, his death will be in vain. The most powerful mark is now in Xiao's hands. Lan Lao said seriously. Ye Bai didn't know why Master Ju wanted this thing. This was the first time Ye Bai heard about it. Brother Ninth has always wanted to get something from the most powerful seed, something called the most powerful mark. Hearing this, Ye Bai's eyes became slightly solemn and his face became serious. Master Ju is a very good person and can handle it. Okay, I promise, even if I die, Master Ju will not be able to get the mark of the strongest. First, most of the beings in the shadow rely on Brother Ninth to survive. If Ninth Brother dies, they cease to exist. First of all, you have to be sure that he has no intention of harming you. Listening to Lan Lao's words, Ye Bai nodded. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 237. Ye Bai currently has only a partial understanding of what Lan Lao said. Even Mr. Lan himself made guesses based on the past 100 years. He didn't know exactly what the situation was. If you want to find out about the mark of the strongest, there is a perfect candidate, Xiao. Ye Bai made up his mind to wait for this time to return to Blue Star from the abyss. Even if you risk your life, you must find a way to meet Xiao and inquire about relevant matters. With Shura's guarantee, Lan Lao originally planned to say something more. Lan Bangxian, who had been watching, suddenly spoke. 5 minutes are up. Ye Bai. Brother, only 1 minute and 21 seconds have passed. Just when Ye Bai was about to argue, Lan Bangxian pointed behind him, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and said, "He's coming soon." Ye Bai looked in the direction Lan Bangxian was pointing, but saw nothing. "Who is he?" "My most powerful seed, Shura, is under the eyes of my second brother, guarded by the top 3 9th-level war gods in the human race. I am not afraid of the demon gods. There is nothing to be afraid of anymore." Several prompts popped up in front of Ye Bai's eyes. Master Ju once broke into the abyss even when he was extremely angry. Current distance, 3 million kilometers, 2.6 million kilometers, 2 million kilometers. Master Ju is speeding, Master Ju is peeing. These 5 minutes go by so fast. Ye Bai supported Lao Lan again and walked forward with a calm expression. Lan Lao reminded seriously. "Your hands are shaking." Ye Bai didn't feel embarrassed at all. "It's an old habit. When I think about meeting Master Ju, I can't control my mood. Brother Ninth is coming soon. Well, it is indeed something he can do." Lan Lao said slowly while walking forward. "Actually, different people have different opinions on your growth rate. Some people think it's better to suppress it and not grow so fast." Ye Bai could understand what Lan Lao said. Shura's growth rate determines the awakening progress of the most powerful demon. Generally speaking, before the most powerful seed grows to level 999, the most powerful demon will awaken. After awakening, the most powerful demon god is bound to have a battle with the most powerful human race, Xiaoao. But no one can predict the outcome of this war. In other words, if Shura grows slower, the war can be postponed. The current situation of being flat or even superior to the human race can be maintained for a while longer. Once Shura's strength exceeds a certain critical point, a chain reaction will occur. The momentum is unstoppable. According to past experience, after the battle between the strongest Xiaoao and the strongest demon, the best result is that Xiaoao retreats behind the scenes and leaves the overall situation to the new generation of the strongest Shura. Will Shura, the most powerful person in the future, be stronger than Xiaoao, the most powerful person now? Different people have different answers to this question. The only thing that is certain is that although Xiaoao's true form cannot leave the Eternal Tower, he is a full deterrent to the demons. In the past 30 years, the human race has maintained its momentum for more than 30 years. Not long ago, he achieved the most glorious result against the Abyss, breaking through 3 Abyss in one go. If this momentum can be maintained for a few more years, the human race will only become stronger. To take a step back, it is Xiaoao who is going to fight the most powerful demon god. It is always better to give him more time to prepare. Brother Ninth and his apprentice have different views on this matter. Lan Lao walked forward and said, "Xiaoao gives me the feeling that your growth rate will be astonishing, surpassing the 3 strongest men in the past, and there will not be much time left for him. Brother Ninth, I might prefer you to slow down." Lan Lao stopped talking and did not continue. Master Ju probably not only hopes that Ye Bai will be slower, but also hopes that Ye Bai will be weaker. The mark of the strongest is in Xiaoao's hands, and Master Ju has nothing to do. His only chance is exactly what Lan Lao said before, when the sign of the strongest is passed to Shura. If Master Ju wants to grab the most powerful mark, he has to pass the Shura level. So, for Yingju, he can accept Shura's growth to the point where he has the power to protect himself, and he can also protect Shura's path. However, on this basis, the weaker Shura is, the more likely Yingju is to take the sign of the strongest. Hearing Lao Ian's words, Ye Bai muttered. No wonder Master Ju deducted 280,000 God of War merit points and refused to give them to me, damn it. I must ask Master Ju to get back these 290,000 God of War merits. Obviously, Ye Bai calculated this account very clearly, and the 300,000 God of War merits cannot be less. That's it. Lan Bangxian, who had been leading the way, suddenly stopped. The three of them unknowingly arrived outside an abyss plane. Ye Bai's eyes lit up. Second brother was in front? I can't go any further. The closer you get to Wuhan, the harder it is to control the longsword behind Lan Bangxian. Not only him, but the heavenly king sword on Ye Bai's waist also showed signs of being out of control. If the nightmare wind hadn't completely enveloped the heavenly king's sword and suppressed it, the heavenly king's sword would have been unsheathed at this moment. Shura can take another 10 steps forward, but you can take 18 steps. After saying that, Lan Bangxian stopped where he was and watched the two of them off. 10 steps? Ye Bai looked at the heavenly king's sword that was shaking in his waist like a convulsion. If he took a few more steps, he might not be able to suppress the nightmare wind. Mr. Lan said earlier that Ye Bai's hands were shaking. It's really not Ye Baikangxin, the reason behind it is heartwarming. He supported Mr. Lan and walked forward. After taking only 4 steps, Mr. Lan was supporting Ye Bai. Just send it here. Lan Lao pressed Ye Bai's hand down and said with a smile. Thank you all the way. Ye Bai chuckled and said, You're welcome, Mr. Lan. You're welcome, student Ye. It's better to sleep less in class from now on. You said. The words stopped suddenly. Ye Bai's smile froze on his face, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. Some people try every possible means to hide their identity, but in the end they don't even know their underwear has been seen. I won't say who it is. His. This damn IQ suppression. In front of Lan Lao, Ye Bai was as innocent as Ying Qi. Lan Tiankai smiled and waved his hand, treating it as his last joke. This road is too long and heavy. From the day the Eternal Tower descended, to today, to this moment. The blue sky has been gone for 100 years. No matter what the final result is, there are no regrets. Looking up to the front, Lan Tiankai's calm eyes inevitably had some fluctuations. Even he felt a little nervous at this moment. He didn't know what was waiting for him ahead. But he knew very well that he must go on. 14 steps, second awakening. Taking a deep breath, Lan Tiankai wasted no time and took steps. He walked the rest of the way by himself. At the same time, a black shadow rushed over at an extremely fast speed. Wherever it went, countless terrifying space cracks exploded next to the after-image. Seeing the black shadow rushing towards him, Lan Bangxian's eyes flashed with a scorching heat, which was quickly suppressed. He has always wanted to try to see which one is faster, his own sword or Yingju's sword. However, Yingju in front of him obviously did not have this intention. Even from 100,000 miles away, Lan Bangxian could feel the suppressed anger in the black mist. There was no need to use the sword that he had not used for more than 30 years on Yingju. The black shadow blinked and rushed past Lan Bangxian. Lan Bangxian did not draw his sword, but just watched silently. Just because he can stop Shadow 1 doesn't mean he can stop Shadow 9. In a sense, Yingju walked with the most powerful nightmare, protected the 3 most powerful seeds of the human race, and was the most powerful war god in the human race. Not to mention, he is also the teacher of the strongest Xiaoao. Regardless of strength or status, Yingju is a transcendent existence in the human race. Even if Yingju wants to chop down Ashura one day to cheer up everyone, no one seems to be able to stop him. The only thing everyone can do, besides saying 666 and there's nothing wrong with me, is to try their best to persuade Master Ju not to behead him. Beheading can easily kill Shura. However, it seems that Shura can be easily killed wherever he cuts. The black shadow disappeared directly into Ye Bai's shadow, and the familiar hoarse voice sounded in Ye Bai's ears again. Boy, you have the guts. Bringing the heavenly king's sword to see Wuhan, you want to die, don't you? Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 238. Master Ju, I miss you so much. As he spoke, tears almost came to Ye Bai's eyes. This sentence is true and sincere, and there is no falsehood at all. Without Master Ju by his side, Ye Bai lived in fear every day, without any guarantee of safety. Yang Ju ignored Ye Bai, but instead separated a stream of black mist and pressed it directly on the nightmare wind and the heavenly king's sword. The two pieces of equipment instantly became more honest. Ye Bai's hands finally no longer shook like a sieve. Master Ju said coldly. We haven't seen each other for a few days. You've become more capable. You helped Shadow 10 upgrade, and you brought the heavenly king's sword to Wuhan. Ye Bai smiled sheepishly and touched his head. Thank you Master Ju for the compliment. This is not just my fault. Praise you. Yang Ju was so angry that he fell into disgrace. Didn't I tell you that Wuhan didn't take away the heavenly king's sword back then? Heavenly King's sword had a grudge in his heart and was holding back his breath to settle the score with Wuhan. Can you use your brain before doing something to save your life? No matter what Master Ju said, Ye Bai nodded in agreement. He didn't dare to say yes, yes, yes to Master Ju. Chao Ju has a strange yin and yang attitude, and it is easy for him to feel a flash of sword light and a chill in his crotch. The 3-second quick guide to going from bizarre to intersex. Ye Baixen smiled and said, it's not because you weren't around, so you didn't think so much. With a cold snort, Yang Ju did not continue. How could Ye Bai, a stubborn person, forget such an important thing? Ignoring this, Yang Ju lowered his voice a little and said in a deep voice. No matter what Xiaolan said to you, I can only tell you, he thought wrong about the strongest mark. Ye Bai fell into silence and did not speak. Right and wrong, sometimes may just be different positions. Yang Ju continued. You are too weak now. When you reach level 600, I will tell you the truth. Good. The two of them had a tacit understanding, so they just pretended that there was no such thing as the mark of the strongest. Level 600 is still too far away for Ye Bai now. When I go back, I will find the bug of Third Brother's Xiao Ao card to reach level 600. Regarding matters related to the mark of the strongest, Ye Bai couldn't just listen to the one-sided words of Master Ju and Lao Lan. Originally, he planned to ask his second brother, but who knew Master Ju could run so fast? Now it seems that the only option is to go back to Xiao Ao and ask. Put this matter aside for now. Now that the heavenly king's sword was no longer strange, Ye Bai counted the steps, took another 6 steps forward, and looked at Lan Lao's back. There seemed to be an invisible barrier between Ye Bai and Lan Lao, and the figure of the other party was a little blurry. Is even the space distorted around my second brother? Lan Lao stopped at the last step and a cane appeared in his hand. Coming. White clothes appeared in front of him. The moment he saw that white smear, Ye Bai wanted to shout. Second brother, I am your fan. It's me, Shura. Ye Bai held back and left the stage to Lao Lan. Lan Tiankai nodded, here he comes. As he said before, this journey has not been easy. He traveled 100 years to get here. It will take several more decades of walking before the talent can awaken for the second time. This process is destined to be extremely dangerous. Lan Tiankai puts his life on the line and wants to awaken a second time as soon as possible. He came with awareness. Even so, when it comes to this moment, it is difficult for anyone to remain unfazed. The blue sky is full of energy. He was used to life and death, and even more life was worse than death. Laoju, Madman Huo, Nightmare, Wuhan. In the past 100 years, when the building was about to collapse, someone always stepped forward to turn the tide and reverse the situation. The century-old great cause of the human race is definitely not achieved by a few empty words. The current situation of the human race is the result of countless blood and sweat. The blue sky is like a living fossil. He has experienced every major event in the human race in the past 100 years, every time the supreme demon god awakens. Every time he experiences turmoil, Lan Tiankai will have a new understanding of his own weakness and powerlessness. He has been an audience member for 100 years and watched plays for 100 years. Even if you do some repair work, whatever you can do. He still felt that it was not enough, far from enough. In the dead of night, he would remain silent, unable to soothe his restless heart. The old man is lying on his back, aiming for 1,000 miles. Lan Tiankai thought that he would never have the chance to do better in this life. Until not long ago, Lan Tiankai was unusually late for an ordinary class. In class, a student stared at him with surprise in his eyes. This look was very strange, an indescribable feeling. Lan Tiankai thought at that time that this classmate named Ye Bai was interesting. After class, Lan Tiankai flipped through the materials and naturally saw more problems. He put the information aside and stopped reading or thinking about it. Check further, it's not appropriate. As a result, before Lan Tiankai could take a sip of hot tea, Yingju suddenly appeared in front of him and told him the conditions for the second awakening of his talent. It could be seen that Yingju was very anxious. The moment he learned the news, he rushed to inform Lan Tiankai. Too hasty. It was this anxiety that directly exposed Shura's true identity to Lan Tiankai. Yingju's acting style would not miss this, and he would also be aware of the risks behind it. But he did it anyway. Because Yingju knew that Lan Tiankai was also in a hurry. After watching for hundreds of years, my blood gradually became cold. If you want to kill the demon, you can't save it. He watched the tide rise and fall, the trendsetters of the times came and went, the curtain opened and fell again and again, and countless figures were reflected in his pupils. When can he, Lan Tiankai, take the stage for this scene? In this scene, can he, Lan Tiankai, be the protagonist for once? Lan Tiankai, who asked himself for hundreds of years, got a response, yes. Go gamble, go risk your life, go for a second awakening. Go for an illusory opportunity and change your own destiny with your own hands. So, Lan Tiankai set off. From the moment Lan Tiankai made his decision, all the decisions made by the top leaders of the human race only served one thing. Send Lan Tiankai intact to Wuhan. Kill the demon god, break through the abyss, carry the black coffin into the eternal forest, Shura goes to sow the abyss. If you repay me as a national scholar, you must treat me as a national scholar. In this farewell, the game and struggle outside the chessboard are extremely dangerous. The Nightmare Legion and the Traceless Legion came out in full force. Outside the Suture Abyss, there were no less than 10 Legion-level battles alone. Fortunately, they did it. Lan Tiankai stood here, standing in front of Wuhan. Without much greeting, Wuhan spoke again. Speak when you're ready. Taking a deep breath, Lan Tiankai closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his eyes were full of determination. He took a long breath and said, "It's time to start." "What did you say?" The swordsman in white in front of him turned slightly, and his questioning tone was a little curious. "That sword is over. Or do you think you can see my sword clearly? The sword without trace passes without trace." Lan Tiankai's pupils shrank, and his old face was filled with disbelief. He raised his hand slightly, looked down at the skinny palm, and fell into deep thought. He had just mentally prepared himself and decided to undergo surgery. As a result, the attending physician came in and told him that the operation was successful. Now, should he sign the operation consent form and risk information booklet? Is there something wrong? From Wuhan's point of view, there is no problem at all. Are you ready? What does it have to do with me cutting you with a sword? I draw my sword without any trace, whether you are mentally prepared or not, the result will be the same. The sword has been sheathed. Just now, Wuhan slashed 2 swords. The first sword cut off decades of time for Lan Tiankai, and his age was recharged, reaching 200. He is a true super generation. Now Lan Tiankai is older than his father, Lan Bangxian. The second sword cuts off the spring breeze and gives it to the old friend. A gust of spring breeze came towards me, and the blue sky stretched out. The wrinkles on my face relaxed, and my whole body was injected with new vitality. My silver hair was dyed gray, and I felt like I was rejuvenated. 200-year-old Lan Tiankai finally has the second awakening of his talent. I cut off the spring breeze for my old friend, and it has been 100 years since I woke up from the dream. After all the vicissitudes of life, we are still in the world. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 239. Lan Tiankai stood there, feeling in a trance, as if he had returned to 100 years ago. Awakening talent level F study, the effect of using the skill book is add 1%. Time passed, and I didn't expect that one day he would awaken for the second time. Second awakening of talent, B-level talent Tiandeo rewards those who work hard. Every time a skill is released, the effect of the skill is add 0.01%, with a maximum limit of 20%. B-level talent. According to the human race's research on the Eternal Tower, the worst talent for the second awakening is B-level talent. Obviously, Lan Tiankai's luck is hard to describe. He said he was lucky, but every time he was the worst. Let's say he has bad luck. He is indeed bad. His performance is so stable that it's heartbreaking. Lan Tiankai, who had awakened for the second time, looked at the B-level talent, but he didn't feel depressed at all. On the contrary, he was very high-spirited. With B-level talent, I can become the god of war in 30 years, the next time the most powerful seed is born. Lan Tiankai is very satisfied with being able to awaken for the second time and break the shackles of level 60. Just leave the future matters to him. Lan Tiankai is satisfied with himself and can accept this result, but it does not mean that others can. Yingju's voice rang in Ye Bai's ears, "Tell me," he woke up from something. B-level talent, God rewards hard work. For some reason, Ye Bai's voice trembled slightly. Master Ju didn't want to hear the rest. After wasting so much energy, manpower, and material resources, he went through a lot of troubles and even had a fight with the big devil. Finally, Lan Tiankai awakened his B-level talent for the second time. Master Ju doesn't accept it. The black mist rolled, and Master Ju's cold voice came. "Wu Heng, you and I will work together to kill him and see if we can revive him for the second awakening." In terms of card bugs, Master Ju has figured it out. Wu Heng let out a sigh, slightly surprised. "Is this okay?" After thinking for a few seconds, he nodded and said, "You can try it, you might die." When he heard that his life was in danger, Master Ju did not panic at all. "It doesn't matter. If he dies, it will be treated as if he failed for the first time. No one else will know anyway. It was Lan Tiankai who died, what does it have to do with Yingju? Bug, always stuck. Play hard until you get talents above S level." Wu Heng thought so too. Good. In just a few words, the two of them were able to press the level 60 blue sky here and cut it again. Yingju even greeted Lan Bangxian. "Come here, hold your son down. This knife hurts a little, and tell him not to move." Lan Bangxian and Lan Tiankai. The Lan family's voice here is surprisingly weak. In other words, there is no right to speak at all. The scene fell into chaos for a while. A certain little transparent person who had been ignored shouted at the top of his lungs. "Would you please listen to what I have to say?" Ye Bai was angry. "You old guys, do you have the most basic respect for me, the most powerful seed? Do you understand the value of the SSS level talent Eye of Insight? The black mist rolled in. Master Ju drew his knife and said coldly. Put. Okay. Ye Bai's attitude turned 180 degrees and became very respectful. Master Ju may not understand the value of SSS level talent. Ye Bai understands the value of Ju knife very well. Just look at Xue Meng. In the suture abyss, Xue Meng was like a fierce god in the world, suddenly in a mess. When he was stabbed by Zhu Yu, he still had no power to fight back. All the eyes of the audience were focused on Ye Bai, and he said urgently. Lao Yan's talent can be awakened 3 times. The awakening condition is 800 years old. Everyone? 3 awakenings. 800 years old. Without the eye of insight, who the hell could have guessed the conditions for awakening? To take a step back, even if you know the conditions for awakening. Without Wu Hen's intervention, Lan Tiankai would have to wait for another 600 years to awaken 3 times. Lan Bangxian's expression is inevitably a bit complicated. What is the reason for my son's talent? He is longer than his life, right? There was a brief silence first, then Yingju retracted the knife and said coldly, you decide for yourself. Killing Lan Tiankai to 200 years old with 1 sword has taken a huge risk. At 800 years old, the probability of Lan Tiankai surviving is extremely slim, less than 1 in 10,000. Almost at the same time, Lan Tiankai was about to nod and agree to the chop. However, Yingju shouted first, Jean, I can protect him from death. The black mist spread flat on the ground, and the shadow's figure was elongated, ready to take action at any time. In the middle of the field, Wilhan sighed again. Well. Only Lan Bangxian's expression returned to indifference, as if he had expected this result. If Wilhan drew his sword, he would not be called Wilhan if he could be noticed. The moment Shura said the conditions for his 3rd awakening, Wilhan had already taken action. Laughing at the ups and downs of 800 years, counting the wind and waves, the world is at ease. When Lan Tiankai reached 800 years old, the 3rd awakening did not come as expected. The atmosphere was tense and depressing, almost condensed into substance. Yingju broke the silence, didn't it hit? Let the talent fly for a while. Wait. Wait for the talent to awaken for the 3rd time. Ye Bai suddenly had a feeling that this high-latency scene seemed familiar. He looked back and looked in the direction of blue star in the void. There is a tower. At the top of the tower, someone lived. Taoist. Eternal tower, 99 floors. Taoist life today is also very boring. Meditate, watch clouds, and think. Boring, self-inflicted boredom. Suddenly, the eternal tower shook slightly. The Taoist raised his eyes, frowned, and wondered. This is. A voice sounded on the 99th floor, and there was even a hint of resentment in the questioning tone. Zhang Xiaoao, you humans are desperate for your life, right? Why have you forgotten what I told you 100 years ago? Awakening 2 SSS level talents at the same time, the sealed one simply cannot resist such temptation and will choose to wake up immediately. Until then, the other party is very resentful and anxious. Obviously, the matter is beyond the control of the other party, and the consequences are unacceptable. Destructive beyond imagination. We can only hope that Xiaoao can solve this thorny problem. Be patient and don't be impatient. Xiaoao also saw the scene for the first time. He closed his eyes slightly and thought about what the teacher would do. I got it. Xiaoao raised his hand and grabbed a brush. A large line of golden text floated out from the 100th floor of the Eternal Tower, floating in front of Xiaoao. He held the pen in his right hand, pointed the pen tip downward, and directly erased the S in a certain line of words. SSS became SS. All right. The Taoist's face was full of tiredness, even a little drowsy, so he forced himself to wave his hands. Go. Is this okay? The other party obviously didn't expect that Xiaoyao would handle it like this. It seems, there's nothing wrong with it. Just drop a word and the other party will come and go in a hurry. Cunning people. Thousands of miles away. Lan Tiankai, who was waiting online for the third awakening of his talent, yawned and felt a little sleepy. The energy of an 800-year-old is indeed not as good as that of you young people. Everyone. Wu Hen picked up the sword, Yingju raised the knife, Lan Bangxian pulled out the cane, and Ye Bai held the bowl and chopsticks. Ye Baihu's body shook, as if there was a thunderous explosion, and the chopsticks and Huazi fell to the ground. Mr. Lan, he has awakened for the third time. The third awakening of talent, SS level talent freedom in the world. Talent effects, freedom, dedicated to learning, standing firm, not confused, knowing destiny, ears attuned, following the heart's desires, doing not exceed the rules, in the world. Looking at the prompt information in front of him, Ye Bai fell into deep thought. Is there a possibility that what Lan Lao awakened is actually an SSS level talent? Online games, only I can see hidden information. Author, Minjai Old Thief. Chapter 240. After awakening the talent 3 times, nothing happened. Lan Bangxian asked, "How do you feel?" "A bit weak." Lan Tiankai frowned and said seriously. "Among the SS level talents I've learned about, they should be considered relatively weak." After receiving this response, everyone present was inevitably a little disappointed. Lan Bangxian still refused to give up and asked, "How weak is he?" "Weaker than Su Qingfeng." "That's okay." "Yeah, bye." Old Su Fengping was killed. It can be seen that among SS level talents, Lao Su is already at the lowest level. The bottom of the contempt chain. Without any pretense, Mr. Lan introduced his talent. There were no outsiders present, so there was no need to hide it. The talent name is freedom in the human world. You must be in the human world to activate the effect. Yingju immediately asked, how to judge the human world? Blue star, those who have passed 4s or above in the eternal tower are judged to be in the human world. Yeah, bye. He suddenly felt himself stunned. Freedom in the world. This talent is a perfect match for the legendary Shuro with a 4's rating. Without Ye Bai's 4's score, Lan Lao's talent could not be activated. True power leveling. This wave of Shura has made great achievements. In other words, Lao Ian's progress in the Eternal Tower is always one step behind Ye Bai. If Shura hadn't been born, even if Mr. Lan awakened his SS level talent 3 times, he could only live happily on Blue Star. It's not useful for breaking through levels, and you can't go to the Abyss Plane, so it's good for guarding your home. Just like the hero in the canyon, his passive is invalid outside the range of the defense tower. It belongs to double row with defense tower. After listening to Renjian's introduction, Yingju nodded. Continue. Lan Lao said slowly. Currently, only one effect has been unlocked: freedom, casting spells without chanting. The next effect can only be unlocked at level 150, ambition to learn. I don't know the effect yet. This. The spell is cast without chanting and is indeed very powerful. But as a talent, it is not strong enough for SS level. Many of the skills are instantaneous, and after the elemental affinity is increased, the same effect can be achieved. Swordsmen like Erge and Lan Bangxian can cut at will and have nothing to do with singing. Also consider that these effects can only be used within the human world, further reducing their value. After listening to Lan Tiankai's introduction, Yingju turned to look at Ye Bai. Why are you still standing there? Could it be that you can't see the effect of unlocking all Xiaolan's talents? Look who can't afford it. Ye Bai was angry. He wanted to deceive him, Ye Dazhong, with such a clumsy way of provoking generals. If I tell you, can I get back the 360,000 God of War merits? Yingju was slightly startled. Where did he get 360,000? It didn't take him long to figure it out. Yingju felt that this kid was probably itchy. I said I could get my life back. Before he could raise his sword, Ye Bai took the initiative to introduce the effects of Lan Lao's future talent. There are a total of 8 effects to be unlocked. Let me briefly explain to you. Aim to learn. When using skill book/knowledge props, the effect is add 50%. You can transfer learned skills into skill books, unlocked at level 150. Eli, attributes, health, and magic value add 50% when upgrading, unlocked at level 300. Not confused, ignore illusion/spiritual attacks lower than your own level, unlocked at level 400. Know the destiny, the effect of prophecy skills add 50%, the effect of judgment skills add 50%, the probability of success is doubled, unlocked at level 500. Ear shun, detection skill effect add 50%, unlocked at level 600. Desire from the heart, the eternal sea can accommodate any type of materials, unlocked at level 700. Do not violate the rules, casting spells in the human world ignores the casting distance. The eternal sea can appear in any area of the human world. Unlocked at level 800. In the human world, wherever you stand, it is the human world, unlocked at level 900. That's pretty much it, nothing more to add. After listening to Shura's introduction, everyone fell into silence again. That's it? The number 1 troll, Yingju, took his place and said angrily. I thought that the talents that were awakened 3 times were at least wearing the skin of SS level, but they are actually SSS level. Ye Bai always felt that there was something wrong in Master Ju's words, and there was also a hint of sourness in his words. Could it be that, Master Ju is actually an S-level talent? Lan Bangxian nodded. It's still very weak. It's only at level 800 that I can compete with Su Qingfeng, and at level 900 it's slightly better than Su Qingfeng. Lao Su can't escape today. Some people are not present, but they can always make their presence felt in various ways. For example Fenqi, such as Lao Su. The second brother Wuhan commented sharply, not even as good as Shura. Hiss. Ye Bai didn't expect that the melon would be eaten by himself. These 3 people stood on the high ground of talent and pointed at Mr. Lan. There is a saying, among the 5 people present, Lan Tiankai's talent is really the worst. The talents of Wuhan, Yingju, and Lan Bangxian are already top-notch. No matter how much Ye Bai usually complains that Eye of Insight is a scummy talent, the SSS level is also genuine. Take Lan Lao's talent alone and compare it with Shura. Talent effects such as not confused and ear smoothness need to be unlocked. Ye Bai had it when he first awakened, and it was even 100 times stronger, but Lan Lao had to wait until several hundred levels to unlock it. The effect of early is good. But Lan Tiankai's career template is only F level, which is inherently inadequate. In the subsequent career change, Lan Tiankai must first upgrade the professional template level, and then the effect of Eli can be slowly exerted. At the same level, Lan Tiankai's attribute panel cannot catch up with Ye Bai. In addition to freedom, the really powerful effects are the last 3. Desire from the heart, do not exceed the rules, be in the world. Especially in the human world. After unlocking in the world at level 900, Lan Tiankai can be considered as possessing the full version of SS level talents, and has fully tapped into his potential. There are no more 4 awakenings, and Matryoshka dolls cannot be used like this. Don't forget, Ye Bai's gifted Eye of Insight can be awakened 9 times in total. The second awakening of the Eye of Insight can completely defeat the 900 level human freedom. What are you still hesitating about? Ye Bai rolled his eyes. Close your eyes. Okay, even those who awaken once can actually win. Unilaterally announcing that the Eye of Insight is the strongest talent, no refutation will be accepted. Second brother Wuhan's sharp comments were the last word on Lao Ian's talent. Among SS level talents, they belong to the category of late stage talents. But the upper limit is indeed not high, just below average, which is embarrassing. Xuemeng is a typical late stage talent, but relying on his extremely excellent combat awareness, as well as terrifying panels and professions, he stands out among his peers and rises rapidly. In the later stage, Xuemeng became more and more fierce. Su Qingfeng's talent was consistent throughout the whole process, but he was always a little weak in the later stages. However, the above are all paper strengths. Whether the talent is strong or not is up to the master. The eye of insight thinks it's great. If you put a below average SS level talent on Lan Tiankai, for the Abyss Demon God, it is tantamount to a catastrophe. The mind is Lan Tiankai's most terrifying talent. This is why the second demon god is deliberately trying to kill Lan Tian. Lan Tiankai, a 9th level god of war with SS level talent, is no less a threat to the devil than Xuemeng. However, it will take some time to wait for Lan Tiankai to grow up. Even for a long time. Message from Zhang Xiaoao. On the other side, Wuhan suddenly spoke. Zhang Xiaoao said, "Send Mr. Lan back to the Eternal Tower within a quarter of an hour." Yang Ju nodded, "Okay. Giving gifts and protecting people's lives are the two things he is best at." Sneaking into Lan Tiankai's shadow, Master Ju did not forget his grandson, the thief. "This kid will save you for a while." Shura, the most powerful seed, was treated like this. Ye Bai only had 2 words for Master Ju, "Great." After arranging Shura's security work, Yang Ju will leave with Lan Tiankai and return to the Eternal Tower. Oh, by the way, there's one more thing. Yang Ju seemed to have thought of something, and said casually before leaving. "This kid wants to learn how to conquer the sky. You should teach him well. It's best to teach him a few times." After saying that, Yang Ju disappeared from the place with Lan Lao. Only Ye Bai with a slightly dull expression was left. "It's over, I've been fooled." "Understood. Got it all." Ye Bai, who was lying on his back the whole time, thought he was sure of clearing the level with full health, but it turned out that he was in the hands of Master Ju. No, to be exact, it was Master Ju who borrowed the sword to hurt someone. It's heartbreaking to kill people. A bright red prompt popped up in front of Ye Bai's eyes. Probability of returning to Blue Star with full health, 0%.